Hey, it's Joyce. I'm excited to finally share this highly requested video on how I edit my photos. If you clicked on this video, this is exactly for you. So let's get into it. Even though the editing of a photo may help enhance the look and feel, I want to put it out there and say that the planning and execution of a photo is essential to capturing beautiful quality imagery. The editing helps to facilitate the whole vision, but in my opinion, this is the icing on top. So I'll also share my step-by-step on how I turn my photo ideas into reality. First of all, sourcing inspiration and generating ideas for content creation is very important. I like to source inspiration from nature, books, and traveling. But for a quick and easy way, Pinterest and Instagram have been my go-to sources. It may be a prop, the outfit, lighting, color palette that I'm drawn to. And from there, I can incorporate the details from the references into my photo ideas. I also type in the word editorial behind every topic I'm looking for to ensure I get high-quality imagery. I like to save relevant photos on a board so I can review them afterwards. The same goes for Instagram, where I have loads of photos saved in a folder for different accounts I follow. Categorizing my inspiration sources also act as a way to organize my thoughts and creative process, which I feel can usually feel very up in the air and disorganized because it's just an idea. Then I look for an outfit that will work well with my idea. This will help to either complement or contrast the imagery I want to create. I recommend choosing an outfit that gives you a natural boost of confidence, but also allows easy movement so you don't have to worry about being restricted as you shoot. I usually opt for solid colors since patterns can sometimes look a little distracting. Jewelry is also my favorite way to accessorize. Not only does it serve to complement my outfit, but it also shows off my style. Next, find the right angles and perspectives. I generally like to prop my camera at chin level so that the images appear as if you'd see me in person. I like to capture a mixture of full body and half body shots to make up a nice image series. A passerby looking through my window might find this super weird, but if I've learned anything from these self-timer photo sessions, it's to step out of my comfort zone and to not be afraid to experiment, because the outcome is always worth it in the end. After I'm happy with what I've captured, it's time to transfer my files to be edited on my laptop. I personally use Lightroom to edit my photos and organize, since it has a very methodical system of doing so for multiple images. Once in the Develop panel, I simply rate my images with numbers to indicate if it made the cut. This is especially useful since I like to take quite a lot of photos in the same shoot. It's the perfect way to sift through a whole album and only keep the images I know I want to edit, while deleting the rest, so I don't have to take up more storage than I should on my laptop. Now that I've selected the image I want to create my edit, I will briefly explain what the development panel in Lightroom is used for. On the very right, you will see this histogram, which looks more like a graph I used to see in my high school textbook. This is a graphical representation of light exposure. Here you can see the blacks, shadows, exposure, highlights, whites within this image I've chosen. Below the graph shows my camera setting when I was shooting this image. Now onto the basic drop-down. I usually like to manually correct the white balance, but I've recently been using the auto-tone functions and I find it does quite a good job. Here, I just find the vibrance a little too much, so I'm going to dial it back down. You can either double click on vibrance or scroll your mouse to neutralize it back to 0. Now onto the tone curve. The bottom of the tone curve is a tone axis that represents the shadows on the left and the highlights on the right. This can drastically affect the overall brightness and contrast of an image. So above the graph, you will see 4 colors: white for RGB, red, green, and blue. You can create separate tone curves for these colors. I'm just going to click on the linear line to make my anchor points on the midtones, shadows, and highlights. Here, I'm going to bring the highlights down a little bit and bring the shadows up just a tiny bit. Now clicking on the red tone curve, I'm doing the same, but here I will create a slight S-curve, moving the red highlights up, the midtones as well, and decreasing the shadows so the cyan color picks up in the shadows. In this case, my eyes and hair. Now this may look a little off, but bear with me. Onto the greens. As you can see at the top, the highlights are picking up more greens, and you don't have to move the line too drastically because the colors can change so much, as you can see. I like to create a warmer vintage look to this image, so you can see my face already looking warmer without too much red. Finally, onto the blues. Now I'm lifting the blues in the highlights, the same for the midtones, and increasing the yellows in the shadows. I feel like the possibilities are endless with the tone curve, and you just have to experiment to figure out what works for your images. Since I think the vibrance is a little much, I'm going back up to the basic panel to decrease this a little. And the same with the saturation. There are loads of other things you can do with this image using HSL and split toning, but I won't get in depth with those to keep this video short and to the point. And there you have it, the before and the after of this image. It's really powerful what photo editing can do to convey a certain emotion and vibe. Once I'm happy with the edit and want to make the same tone curve adjustments to other images from the same photo shoot or batch, the easy way to do this is by using the Lightroom Sync option located at the bottom of the Develop panel. Another way to do this is to set it as a preset for when I want to edit other photos with this edit in the future. To post on Instagram with the right dimensions, click on the box icon on the right and simply click on the 4:5 aspect ratio. You can also adjust the image within the framed box. Then, right-click on the image or multiple images to export. This box will pop up asking where you want to save the images to. I have an Instagram folder, so everything goes in one place, with my image output to JPEG and click Export. Since I have an Apple device, I can easily transfer my files via AirDrop, and I receive the image transferred to my phone in seconds. It's super convenient and I love this function a lot, especially if I'm working with a whole bunch of images. And there you have it. I hope this video was insightful and useful for you. If you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. And I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye!